Hello guys, Charles here, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my 10 top tips for beginners. Really, I think players of all ages and abilities could benefit from this. So let's get straight into it. So the first point is develop patience. There is no end point when we're studying music. I often get inquiries from potential students asking things like, how long does it take to learn the piano? Or how many lessons will I need to play guitar? Now, of course, I understand what they mean by those questions, but the truth of the matter is you never learn the piano, you never learn the guitar, you never finish. It's a lifetime journey, it's art. There is no end goal. So become at peace with the fact that you've just got to do it for the rest of your life. You've just got to be on the journey. I think sort of trying to not set yourself too many goalposts along the way and just make sure you are progressing as far as you can each step of the way is the best approach. Tip number 2, learn what you love. It's very easy, especially in the internet age, to be told what you should be listening to and what you should like and what guitarists are supposed to be able to play, what's hard on the piano, and to focus on those things. At the end of the day, it's really important that if you feel a personal connection with a piece of music, you study it. There's a great educator whose videos I really like, and he takes this to a quite philosophical level and says that if you feel some sort of connection with a piece of music, it's because that piece of music is trying to give you some sort of musical nourishment, some sort of musical lesson that is currently missing from your playing. I think that's quite a beautiful way of thinking about it. Learn what you like. It doesn't matter whether it's Alan Holdsworth or Harry Styles. It makes no difference. If you love it, learn it. Step 3 is learn how to learn. One of the most important skills I've developed along my own musical journey is to learn how to craft specific exercises to target weaknesses in my own playing. Another huge element of learning how to practice is transcribe by ear. I would spend hours and hours listening to music at half speed and writing down every single note. I got a lot out of doing that, but I would have got a lot more by listening at full speed and never writing anything down, trying to remember it all and do it by ear. If I came back to it the next day and I'd forgotten it, I would have to work it out again. That's now the approach I take to transcribing, and not only has my ear improved so much, but I'm actually remembering the stuff I've learned. If I just listen to it at half speed once and write it down, there's not really enough repetition to get that stuck in your head. So try your best to avoid using tab, avoid using notation. If there's a piece of music you love, try and learn it at full speed as much as you can before you rely on tablature and notation. Tip number 4, qualifications have no relevance to the ability level of a musician. I don't credit those in any way for my musical development. All of the musical development I feel I've personally made has come from really basic studying of contemporary music. Really, I feel that's been the biggest help to me. Now, that's not to dismiss education at all. I'd really recommend you identify someone who you aspire to be like and reach out to them and ask if they offer lessons. Again, just like playing the music you love, find a teacher who will work on that music with you. Try to avoid teachers who just put you on a workbook. Not that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, but the longevity is probably not there. Again, we need to be working on things we love, so find a teacher who specialises in that and inspires you and will work through that journey with you. Tip number 5, whichever style of music you're into, you will undoubtedly benefit from studying the blues. Now, when I say studying the blues, I mean everything from very early blues players, guys like Muddy Waters, Albert King, B.B. King, the early guys, up to modern beasts like someone like John Scofield. Whichever style of contemporary music you're interested in, it's just a branch coming off the blues. And so if you understand chord theory and scale theory as it pertains to the blues, running the whole gamut from the early players, which is generally simpler stuff, not easier, but simpler, and all the way up to modern guys like John Scofield. If you understand that journey, you'll be able to translate that into any other genre. So when people ask, should I learn theory? I think that's probably the place you should start is, well, at least make sure you understand the theory running all the way from a very simple 12-bar blues all the way up to a very sophisticated jazz blues. Tip number 6, play with players of all abilities. I was always a bedroom player. I still am more of a bedroom player than I should be, but I have benefited greatly from playing with people along my journey. When I say play with other people, I mean better than you and worse than you. One of the bravado issues that we often have again is blaming our own poor performance on the weaker musician in the band. Not necessarily to their face, but you get home and you think, oh, I was going to play a really good solo, but the piano player didn't really know what they were doing, or the drummer couldn't keep a groove. If the drummer can't keep a groove and you feel you are the best musician in that particular group, it is your responsibility to hold the groove. It's your responsibility to tie the whole band together. And you can't blame the weaknesses of your own performance on the weaknesses of other players. If anything, the weaknesses of other players are simply going to highlight your own weaknesses. So if you keep getting distracted by the wrong chord here or there, or the wrong beat, then that's a you issue that you need to work with. There's a great video of Chris Potter, one of the world's greatest sax players. I think he was 13 playing Moment's Notice. The band get the chords wrong. The band muck up. Chris just absolutely kills it. He doesn't let the band put him off, and he was 13. Now, he's a prodigy, but you can take a similar approach in your own playing. So look up to the players who are better than you and ask yourself, what are they doing well? What can I learn from them? And think about how the worst players are putting you off, and you can learn from that as well. And you could offer them some polite, generous advice. Tip number 7, don't believe the hype. Gear is not as important as it's made up to be. There's a huge market out there trying to push this stuff onto you. It is amazing the quality of even £100 instruments nowadays. No matter what instrument you play, you can find something definitely under £400 or £500 that is perfectly equipped to get you throughout your whole musical journey. One of the things that we all fall for, again, rather than blaming other people, is blaming our gear.
John, you just broke your guitar?
I don't give a shit.
Get yourself a reasonably priced bit of kit, make sure it's set up nicely, maybe get a professional to make sure it's all working nicely for you. If you're a guitarist, get your instruments set up, or a violin player. Then don't think about gear anymore. You are the most important thing. Develop yourself, invest the money in yourself, in your education, and don't worry about trying to upgrade gear. When the time is right and you've got the money rolling in because you are that good, you will be able to invest a little bit in a nice bit of gear just because it is nice to have. Tip number 8, speed is not important. To develop speed, we must learn to control simple techniques, slow techniques. It's taught us in the hair stuff. When practicing, always choose something to work on that you can do between 5 and 8 times out of 10. Work on that area of your playing and try and make it as beautiful and musical and controlled and easy as possible. If you spend 10 years of your life studying things that fit those criteria, you'll suddenly find that within even 4 to 5 years, you can play really quickly. One of the main issues with running before you can walk is that fast lines should be interesting when you slow them down. They should still be musically valid. If you're still struggling to build vocabulary at a slow tempo, then when you play fast, it's just going to be drivel. It's just going to be pre-learned patterns. So you need to develop your musical ear. You need to work on things, getting them as musical sounding as possible. That's developing your control. And the speed will come when you are ready to use it. With great power comes great responsibility. Number 9. One of the most important things I've learned along my own musical journey is that rhythm trumps notes. A good drummer will prove this. A drummer can't play notes. They have different timbres and different sound worlds available to them, and they simply hit them with interesting rhythms and trying to play as musically as possible. That musicality and that rhythmic accuracy is what makes a drummer a musician. It's what makes them interesting to listen to. That's why people will dance to the drums. Especially beginners, we always get tied up on, oh, am I playing the right note? Possibly not, but the good news is there's only 12 notes available to us in the chromatic scale. So you've always got at least a 1 in 12 chance of playing the right note. When you add to that a little bit of extra knowledge about the rough note you're trying to get, you really increase your odds. With a little bit of time, you'll start to find your note accuracy improves. Focus instead on getting your rhythms as punchy and accurate as possible, playing to a metronome, playing with other musicians, and trying to really lock in with what the rest of the group's doing. Tip number 10. This ties back into quite a few of the previous tips. Tip number 10 is have fun. Aww. This is supposed to be enjoyable. I've had a lot of students in the past who have ended up sort of, tearing their hair out, getting so frustrated with themselves for various reasons. You've got to remind yourself, this is fun. Playing music is fun. We do it for fun. When it becomes your job, it sometimes doesn't feel that way, but you've got to bring yourself back to the feeling why you first started playing. And the reason you first started playing is because it was exciting, it was fun, it made you feel good about yourself. So make sure above all else you're focusing on enjoying yourself, and that'll come out in your performance, and people will enjoy listening to you. I hope you enjoyed those top 10 tips. It's impossible to narrow this down to 10 tips, obviously. There's a million other things I could have said, and I'm sure you guys are thinking, oh, well, you didn't say this, you didn't say that. Please leave those in the comments down below so everyone else can dive down there, and rather than just being 10 tips, we'll have 100 tips, who knows how many. So let me hear your ideas about what you wish you knew before you started. And if you are a beginner, let us know some of your concerns, some of your queries down below, and I'm sure either me or someone else will give you some really helpful advice. As always, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification button, and I really look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Cheers.
Roll up, let me embed a story you'll never forget. A drip, drip, but drowning in debt now. You can't buy your way out, and I heard you find it difficult to cope. Well, here by this bottle full of hope, and